It's been a few hours since the release of the Wildy boss rework, and I've made my way through killing all of the new solo variations of Callisto, Venenatis, and Calvar'ion, and in this video we're going to showcase the loot from 25 kills of each boss. Overall, I'm a pretty big fan of this update. I think a majority of the mechanic changes were a massive improvement on some of the previous bosses. After the update, in terms of mechanics, I think Calvar'ion is going to be my favorite going forward. I'm not sure if it's just the boss room or if it feels the least tedious mechanically, but it is my favorite up to this point. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the loot. And if we pull up the loot tracker and throw in our first inventory, this is the loot from 25 kills of Artio, which is the solo variation of Callisto. And it comes out to a total of 1.24 mil, and over 25 kills. If we divide that out, it is nearly 50k per kill. Realistically, going into it, we didn't know if they were going to dramatically change all of the drop rates and the drop tables. Obviously, if you have done Callisto in the past, you can tell that this is very similar to what Callisto used to drop. Maybe not in terms of the price, but in terms of the actual items on the table. So we now know they didn't do a massive overhaul on the drop tables themselves. They just changed the quantities between what you get from each of the different variations. I ended up pulling off a solo kill of Callisto in the new multi-area, and I got a drop of 75 red d'hide, which was already previously on the table before the update. And in the new Artio variant, I got the exact same drop, but it came in only 55. All in all, probably my second favorite out of all three, and I'm looking forward to going back and trying to pull some of the uniques. Now for our second inventory of loot, this is from 25 kills of Calvar'ion, which is the solo variant of Calvar'ion. And if we go ahead and throw it all in the price checker, it actually comes out to almost exactly the same as Artio. 1.25 mil, so basically 50k per kill. And that's honestly pretty surprising. I don't know if it's just the current price of the items or what, but in general, this felt like I was making much more money than I was at Artio. Here's the final inventory of loot for the 25 kills of the Spindel, which is the solo variant of Venenatis. Honestly, this one felt pretty underwhelming overall, and it comes out to a very sad 521k. Realistically, not only did the Spindel take the longest to kill, but it also has by far the worst GP per kill drop rate for any of the three bosses, if you do not pull a unique. Without any uniques, our average drop for the Spindel was 21k GP per kill, but fortunately, we did happen to get very lucky. And if I go ahead and walk over here to the Grand Exchange and pull it up, on our fifth kill of the Spindel, we picked up the Void Waker gem, which sold for a grand total of 328 mil, and happens to be the very first time I've ever got a drop on day of release on anything PVM related in Old School. So fortunately with that pickup, the Spindel happened to be the best for us in terms of loot. Realistically, the other two are much better off in terms of just basic GP per drop, and some of them drop some really decent supplies for Iron Man, still being Calvar'ion with a very similar drop table prior to the update. One thing I do want to note though, despite the other two being better per drop in basic drops, the Spindel will still continue to keep up, considering that its uniques are going to be the most expensive out of the three, because in terms of the multi-bosses right now, Venenatis is far and away the hardest to do. On top of that, Venenatis and the Spindel also drop the Fangs of Venenatis as its unique drop, which is the upgrade for the crossbow, which out of all three of the Wildy weapon upgrades will probably result to be the most expensive once the tide kind of settles on all of the new items. Either way, that's the loot from 25 of each of the new solo bosses. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, consider dropping a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and not already. Hopefully you guys pick up some of the same RNG I finally got this week. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next video.